What is the fruit of these teachings? Only the most beautiful and proper harvest of the truly educated, tranquility, fearlessness, and freedom. We should not trust the masses who say only the free can be educated, but rather the lovers of wisdom who say that only the educated are free. This is a quote from Epictetus, the Roman philosopher, from his notes called Discourses. What he means is that the pursuit of knowledge extends far beyond the mere acquisition of facts and figures. True education is the kind that transforms and liberates and penetrates the depths of our being and fundamentally alters how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. When we approach learning with sincere intention, we embark on a sacred journey toward inner freedom, one that transcends the conventional understanding of education as a means to material success or social validation.
Consider why you engage with wisdom literature or philosophical texts. The authentic seeker does not read to impress others at social gatherings or to pass idle moments during travel. The genuine student of life approaches these teachings with reverence, recognizing them as vessels of transformative power. As Socrates wisely observed, education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. This flame, once ignited, illuminates the darkest corners of ignorance and fear within us, revealing pathways to authentic freedom that remain hidden to the untrained mind. The relationship between education and freedom operates in a profound reciprocal dance. While some claim that only those already free can pursue education, the deeper truth reverses this equation. As Epictetus boldly asserts, it is education itself that creates the conditions for true freedom to flourish. This paradox lies at the heart of philosophical practice. We study to become free, and in becoming free, we deepen our capacity to learn. Seneca reinforced this understanding when he wrote, "Philosophy calls for simple living, not for doing penance, and the simple way of life need not be a crude one." When we examine our lives honestly, we often discover invisible chains of conditioning that govern our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Social expectations, cultural programming, and unexamined assumptions restrict our movements through life as surely as physical constraints. The Buddhist tradition speaks of these as mental formations or sanskaras, deep grooves in consciousness that dictate our habitual responses. True education helps us recognize these patterns and offers tools to transcend them. As Gautama Buddha taught, just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over again. The modern world presents unprecedented distractions that compete for our attention. The momentary pleasure of scrolling through social media or indulging in mindless entertainment often feels more appealing than the disciplined study of wisdom traditions. Yet these distractions merely strengthen our invisible chains, deepening our dependency on external stimulation. Confucius recognized this danger centuries ago when he cautioned, "The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones." Each moment we dedicate to meaningful learning represents a small stone removed from the mountain of ignorance that separates us from our highest potential. Self-knowledge forms the cornerstone of educational liberation. When Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib stated, "He who knows himself knows his Lord," he echoed the same profound insight that Socrates expressed through his famous dictum, "Know thyself." This self-knowledge transcends mere intellectual understanding. It encompasses emotional intelligence, spiritual awareness, and ethical clarity. Through sustained introspection, we begin to distinguish between our authentic self and the various masks we wear in response to societal demands. This discernment marks the beginning of true freedom. Consider the transformative journey of Viktor Frankl during his imprisonment in Nazi concentration camps. Despite enduring unimaginable physical constraints, Frankl discovered what he called the last of human freedoms, the ability to choose one's attitude in any given circumstance. This profound realization emerged from his education, both formal and experiential, which provided inner resources that no external power could diminish. "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing," he wrote. "The last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." The liberation that education offers manifests in three primary dimensions: tranquility, fearlessness, and freedom, precisely the fruits Epictetus identifies. Tranquility arises when we understand the true nature of desire and aversion, recognizing which concerns deserve our attention and which we should release. A student in ancient India once asked the Buddha how to achieve peace of mind. The Buddha replied, "When you realize that everything changes, happiness will follow you like your shadow, unshakable." This wisdom, when deeply internalized, produces a serene mind that remains undisturbed amid life's inevitable fluctuations. Fearlessness emerges when education helps us confront the unknown with courage and curiosity rather than trepidation. The Islamic tradition honors this quality through the concept of tawakkul, trust in divine provision while taking appropriate action. As Rumi eloquently expressed, when you go through a hard period, when everything seems to oppose you, when you feel you cannot even bear one more minute, never give up, because it is the time and place that the course will divert. This fearlessness does not mean the absence of fear, but rather the capacity to move forward despite it. Freedom, the ultimate gift of education, manifests as the ability to respond to life's circumstances with conscious choice rather than conditioned reaction. Marcus Aurelius embodied this freedom when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This insight liberates us from the tyranny of external validation and plants the seeds of authentic agency. We become authors of our own experience rather than passive recipients of circumstance. In real life, we can observe the transformative power of education in countless examples. Consider Nelson Mandela, who during his 27 years of imprisonment turned his cell into a university. Through rigorous study and contemplation, he developed the wisdom and compassion that would later enable him to lead South Africa toward reconciliation rather than revenge. His education, formal and philosophical, provided the inner resources that transformed personal suffering into collective liberation. On a more ordinary scale, imagine a person struggling with chronic anger. Through studying Stoic philosophy, they might learn to distinguish between what they can and cannot control, applying Epictetus's wisdom. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. This simple but profound distinction creates space between stimulus and response, allowing for choices that previously seemed impossible. The person's relationships improve, their blood pressure decreases, and they experience greater satisfaction, all concrete manifestations of educational freedom. The practice of philosophical education requires discipline and intention, especially in moments when easier options beckon. Guru Nanak, founder of Sikhism, emphasized that spiritual knowledge must be lived, not merely contemplated. Truth is the highest virtue, but higher still is truthful living. When tempted to abandon our studies for momentary pleasures, we might remember that each engagement with wisdom builds neural pathways that facilitate future learning and growth. Each conscious choice strengthens our capacity for freedom. The journey toward educational liberation is not linear, but cyclical, requiring regular renewal of our commitment to growth. As Lao Tzu observed, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but this journey continues through countless steps, each representing a choice to prioritize wisdom over distraction, depth over superficiality. We fall away from our practice, recognize our lapse, and return, each cycle deepening our understanding and strengthening our resolve.
This understanding of education as freedom carries profound implications for our collective future. Imagine communities and societies organized around the principle that true education liberates rather than merely trains for economic productivity. Such an approach would revolutionize our educational institutions, our political discourse, and our approach to social challenges. As René Descartes proposed, it is not enough to have a good mind. The main thing is to use it well. Our collective liberation depends on the wise application of knowledge toward compassionate ends. If you found value in these teachings on education as a path to inner freedom, we invite you to share this wisdom with others seeking greater peace, courage, and autonomy in their lives. The ancient philosophers didn't preserve these insights for themselves. They understood that wisdom achieves its highest purpose through transmission and application. By integrating these principles into your daily practice and sharing them with your community, you participate in humanity's ongoing quest for liberation through learning. Remember that each moment of conscious study plants seeds of freedom, not only for yourself, but for all whose lives you touch. In a world increasingly dominated by distraction and superficiality, the commitment to deep learning becomes a revolutionary act, one that honors our highest potential and contributes to the cultivation of a more awakened society.